Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Eric Bird, here at StopStrugglingNow.com. And I'm late on all fronts, but it's for a good cause, a family cause. My aunt's in the hospital, so therefore, that is a precedent over anything else. So it's the SSN Nation, not the Friday night live stream, but the Saturday night, late night live stream, and welcome, because we got a lot to talk about. The tariffs were revoked by the Supreme Court. Stock market trading took a boom. You should be involved, ladies and gentlemen. We have that and so much more to talk about. Time to win. And welcome. Stop struggling now, gear. Check. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. Now, let's get to it. All right. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for being here. And please share the videos because you never know who's out here looking for information. Now, first things first, let's get into findhelp.org for all the people that are out here having a very, very hard time in the United States. This, you need to put in your zip code. You can go there right now while you're watching, open up another browser, put in findhelp.org, put in your zip code, and see the myriad of places that can help you. Those of you who are living paycheck to paycheck, because 8 out of 10 people are living paycheck to paycheck right now in America. And 8.5 people out of 10 in Canada are living paycheck to paycheck. Now, that is a problem, just so you know. The United States stock market went boom on Friday. Why is that? Because the tariffs were revoked by the Supreme Court. In case those of you do not understand how our Constitution works, in our Constitution, rightfully so by the Supreme Court, they ruled that only Congress can put in the tariffs. They're trying to use wartime. They're trying to use 1800 stuff, 1900 stuff. Like I always say, R for reverse. All those laws from back then have been updated. So for them to be able to go back and say, oh, it's this from 1930s or this from 1950s, okay. But that still is against the Constitution. Congress sets the tariffs. So naturally, the stock market went higher because they realized once you remove tariffs, in theory, prices should come down because USA citizens don't have to pay for the tariffs anymore of 25% or 20 or 15 or 30. So that is why we've been talking about getting into the stock market, learning how to trade or learning how to use the stock market to your advantage. Because, you can hear somebody talk about all-time record highs, but those of you who might have only put your money in on a 401k, or if you're like the lost generation, which is the ones from 0 to about 30, where the odds of them owning a home, being able to have a nice paying job for 25 to 30 years is getting slimmer and slimmer. So if you're in that scenario, then you need to learn how to make money for something that's going to be here a long, long time, well before anything else melts down. The stock market will not melt down. I shouldn't say it in that term. The stock market can melt down. There's such things as Black Friday, the Sundays, the Monday, or shall I say the Monday. It does go down, but who can actually win if the stock market goes down? Those people that are doing stock trading. So that's why the tariffs were very important. It made the stock market very, very volatile. Once again, if you're in the house, the comment section is open. The chat rooms are open no matter which venue you're listening or watching. So you can actually make comments, no problem. Now, first things first, we got to the findhelp.org. Now, I set it up already, like I've done all year long in the live streams. Once you say to me, Eric, that's fine to find help, but I still need to free up some money because I am in debt, then that's why I have this ace in the hole, Familia. That's why I'm going to give you Tracy's email address. She works for Money Ladder. She does debt resolution, debt consolidation. She helps you, and it will take 1 year, 1.5, 2 years. But after that, your credit will be good. And that's the key right there. That's how you free up some money and you can get this done real quick. This is not that hard because here comes the email. It's going to be in the chat room. All right. It's very easy. Let's see here. Let me do it this way because we do have people listening on podcasts. So the email address is TRACY. That's right. You always should have a pen, pad, and paper if you're watching any of the live streams or any of the videos. It's very simple. So let's start it off real easy. Tracy is the email address. TRACY at sharp with an E at the end. SHARPE at Money Ladder. It's sitting in the chat room from several different platforms, and it will be down below for any platform that allows you to check the description box. It'll be down below in the description box. So again, here's the email address, TRACY dot sharp, SHARP as in Paul, E at moneyladder.com. And if you want to see what's happening, there's also a video that we did almost 2 years ago when she worked for another company to explain exactly how simple and easy it is. Don't file bankruptcy. Don't let it get into debt collections. You can handle it before it gets to that. And that can free up some money that you can do investments that you're going to have to do. All right. So those are the first two keys right there. Now I'm going to divert to something else because there's been a little program that has started called Prime Wealth Advisors who have been giving 8% per week. I know it sounds too crazy, but we've had our own seamless genius and a guest, Maury, who came in about 2 weeks ago, Friday, and they've been in this program for 5, 6, 7 months, and they're getting 8% return per week. I know it sounds like a Ponzi scheme to me too. I know what you're thinking. So once again, we're going to talk about it. Welcome, Wiser Than Most, to the SSN Nation late night Saturday night live edition. Very nice to see you once again. And brings a tagline, big bro, I think you're a shadow banned. I haven't been getting none of your live streams. Hey man, you are correct. I've been shadow banned for 5 years. But as you guys know, since I don't make money from here, I'm still helping people because I don't have to make money from here. That's the difference. We're not doing it for clicks, ladies and gentlemen. And not only are we shadow banned, we're also banned from outside of the United States. That's right. They're keeping me in a box. And Google says, nobody needs to know about any of this information that you talk about. Real estate, stock market trading, candlestick Bible. No, nobody in the world. They don't have other stock markets anywhere else in the world either. They don't have real estate anywhere else in the world either. They don't have banking in any other country in the world either. They don't have, oh, hold up. I got some. Yeah, they don't have the banker's card anywhere else in the world either. These guys. So yes, wiser than most, there's a reason. Because when you start telling people how to be independent, you better know where you live in America. They only want certain people to be independent. make money, act like they're top 10% of the richest. But as soon as you do it and tell people for free, all of a sudden you're dangerous, ladies and gentlemen. You don't know what country you live in. I do. All right. So anyhow, wiser than most. Very, very nice observation, and there is a reason why. In fact, we used to talk about yield max ETFs like 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago when they first came out, because they were giving people like, oh my God, 50% returns, dividend returns, 60%, 70% dividend returns. Every time I used to talk about yield max ETF, the live stream would start shutting down. Glitches. All of a sudden, audio doesn't work, start slowing down. It was funny as hell. And then finally, people started realizing, they're like, how come every time we talk about yield max ETF, all of a sudden it starts glitching? And finally, enough people started saying it. And I was like, yeah, I said, it's real. I've been trying to tell you guys. You don't understand what's going on. You don't know where you live. All right. I do. Like I said. All right. The world above is in the house as well. Welcome to the SSN Nation Late Night Saturday Night Live edition. Very happy to see you once again. And a simple tagline: what's up? What's up, man? You know what we do. We got to make sure everybody's on point, because the country you live in, they're not looking out for the ordinary citizens, the OCs. They're looking out for the wealthy. No problem. As long as you have wealth items, you get to ride the wave. But if you don't have the wealth items, then you're going to be screwed. It's simple as that. The tariff revocation, that was just minor, because soon as that happened, our boy, not my boy, he just turned around and doubled down and said, I'm not going to listen to that. We're going to add 10 to 15% tariffs for the world. I was like, has this dude lost his mind right now? How come we're listening to some 79, 80-year-old-ish kind of dude that has mental problems? This is insanity right now. Just because dumb dude didn't do history checks and he has a crew with him that doesn't care, because, they're all wealthy, and they didn't go back to 1920s and go see exactly what that president did to create the Great Depression. I don't know. They could have done it just like any of you can go look. And the funny thing is, you see tariffs on the menu. Isolationism. Talking about the same stuff they talk about now. Put the Asians in the concentration camps. Get the Mexicans over across the border. Put them in a concentration camp. Make sure you keep the black people down. Make sure you can't let them go to school and get nice paying jobs. All that BS. Funny. History's repeating itself, and our economic situation is about to repeat itself if you let this clown with dementia keep running this government along with his dumbass friends. Yeah, I know that, all these dudes, Lutniks and Best Sense and all these dudes with the smile on their face, because, they're taking from our taxpayer money. I won't get into it tonight, but that's why I'm going to get into it. And I need you guys to be safe. Make sure you have a bank account outside the United States. If you're going to travel anywhere, just make sure, bring your tax returns on your computer with you. Make sure you have your last 6 months bank statements in the United States, of course, or wherever you're from. Your taxes for either 2026 or 2025 or 2024. Make sure, okay? And make sure you have $500 in USD, because normally you can open up an account $500 when you go somewhere around the world. All right, which you can go to the ATM machine. But the point I'm trying to make is, make sure you have options. All right? Now, let's get down back to business. Whoa, Joshua Tree, welcome to the SSN Nation Saturday Night Live edition, late night. Very happy to see you once again. Whoa. They play too many games, them small hats. Hey, man, you got that right. The game is actually rigged. Again, I hate to talk about this. This is why I'm banned. This is why I have shadow ban. This is why they won't release anything, because I tell it like it is. All of it is verifiable. until they try to change, Google and Chat GPT, so they can alter history. And so people don't understand. But once you understand who America is built for, the rich and wealthy and powerful, then you better fall in line. You better get yourself a job. You better give them your money at the bank. The bank, remember, you signed already that whenever you give them money, it's theirs. So since it's theirs, it's gone. They spending it. Guess with who? The rich and wealthy. I'm like, what part of this? This is so crazy. Again, this is the reason why we have to talk about the tariffs, but this is also the reason why I have to get you guys in the stock market game. Whichever way you fit in, you still need to get in. All right? Stop playing out here. And also, the prime wealth advisors are giving people 8% per week. And for the last 7, 8 months, they've been paying out our tester, Seamless Genius. And it's been every week. I put a link in here so you guys can all download the link. That doesn't mean anything. It just means you sign. You can go look and check out the back office. Check out, it's been the 14th. I think it was the 13th. Check out February 13th, a week ago video live streams. And she and Maury came on to talk about it because they've been doing it. All right. And the only thing is they couldn't show their back office, sadly, but I have pictures of her back office. She's already made thousands. All right. Just so you understand, because it's 8% per week. And I know what you might be thinking. Can you compound it? No, you can't. I already checked because I was like, wait a minute, 8% per week. If I just leave it compounding, and they said it doesn't automatically compound. So they actually put it into your account. You would have to move it into that side of the fence. So it costs $100 minimum. How sweet is that? And you use crypto. That's right. You use crypto to load to it. USDT, USDC, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. The only downside, which there's got to be a downside when you're talking about this, right, is the withdrawal can only be in Bitcoin and Ethereum. I didn't really like that much because you know what that means. That means there's going to be a fee. So I'm getting 8%, but how much is it going to cost me? So the only saving grace is everybody knows when you do Ethereum or Bitcoin late night, when there's hardly anybody on the highway of the blockchain, the fees are way less. So if you're going to withdraw, then that probably should be the way you're going to do it. All right. Joshua Tree. That's right. We don't play games. We know the games and then we rig it in our favor. And that's the thing that they don't like. Because when they start hearing things like irrevocable trust, all of a sudden they're like, hold up. We can't have that. We want all you commoners to, do a will so we can overlook your probate situation. The courts can come in and say, nah, we're not going to allow this or that. Or you want to make sure, because you know how family members are, they're going to argue over assets, which means they're all going to get lawyers. And then somebody can't pay their lawyers. So then their lawyers are going to put a lien against that property and force them to finally sell. Or when they do sell, the price will be so high that they hardly get any cash. So they tell everybody, get a will. No, ladies and gentlemen, you need to plan irrevocable trust. And if you have a problem, you know what's funny? ChatGPT, you can start it off right there and just get a little rundown, ask questions. It's free. And you can tell it, hey, make me a little, trust, irrevocable trust for the state that I live in that meets state and federal laws. And I can even give the names of my beneficiaries if you wanted to. Or you can just say, give me a blank little rundown. Let me see what it looks like. And then you can ask questions like, does this meet federal and the state that I'm having to trust guidelines legally? Just for starters. Or you can be like rich guys and go down to a estate planner and say, hey, I'm thinking about this. And They will say, well, I need 5Gs, 7Gs just to start. Meanwhile, you can go the SSN Nation way, since it's freely available. You just go to ChatGPT and say, I want to do an irrevocable trust in the state that I live in, and I want it to meet federal and state laws. And let's go. The more you have, the more you know. And then they'll start telling you, okay, you can do this. And then you would go, hey, is there any recommendations? Then they'll say, oh, yeah, you left something out. Maybe you want to think about this. Do you want me to explain it? Right. I know. This is why it's getting dangerous out here, ladies and gentlemen. When you have these type of tools, don't let them play you like this. All right? Don't let them play you. Just saying. Let's go. They're always messing with black channels that pass information. Buy the gossip channels, stay on. Exactly, wiser the most. You noticed that, right? They also allow people that scam to also keep scamming and allow them to try to blacklist your channel. Because right now, I have a long-running feud with Miracle Cash and More, who's now known as Bellator, because we actually invested in their program years ago with the NFTs. Now these guys are still roaming around, even though the federal government knows that these guys scam people. So this is what's so funny. They can still roll out all their garbage, but they're going to shadow ban, block my stuff when we're trying to help people. Like I said, findhelp.org. That helps people. American citizens, put in your zip code. There's all kind of things that it can help you with. Again, I like the ones that they help with rent, the ones that help with the down payment on mortgage, the ones that help with job training at no cost. I love that. And even if it costs a little bit of money, it's still almost no cost. So the point is, I like all that, even though the government doesn't want to tell you. Thank you to Matthew Lesko, the late night infomercial guy that used to be on late night, have the question mark suits. Yeah, he was on almost 2 years ago as well, and he dropped the gem, findhelp.org. I was like, are you kidding me? I've been out here helping people for the last 30 years. I ain't never heard of findhelp.org. He's like, I know. Now, that's how cold this is out here. I'm like, man, this is crazy. But that's it. That's it. It's a culture club. That's exactly right, Judah Barak. Welcome to the SSN Nation. Saturday night late night live stream. Very happy to see you. He drops the tagline. It's a culture club. Of course it is, man. America is culture. Invoking the spirit, says the world above. Exactly. So you guys got the Prime Wealth Advisors link. Use it. All right. It's 8% per week. You use crypto to upload. You download crypto. A lot of you, let's get real. I'm the guy that says make sure the United States government or any government can't control your funds, because they control your assets. When you have a brokerage account in the United States, that means they don't have to give you your money. You have a bank account, that means they don't have to give you your money. You want to use a crypto service that's regulated like Coinbase, which is well known, that's regulated. You keep your crypto on there, they don't have to give it to you. Just remember, all these people that say they're regulated by the United States government, just remember how many people have been ripped off by the banks? How many people at Wells Fargo were getting their money siphoned out of Wells Fargo, Bank of America, JP Morgan? What happened? How many people went to jail for the banking crisis in 2008-9? Bankers. Think about all this. And for all of you who have not had your brokerage account or bank account stolen, the money's assets stolen, just you wait. It could happen to you. Then you'll have a different point of view. All right, let's go. David Jackson says, that's why I love Trump, a rebel in his own mind, designed to scatter a lot of suckers when he do crime. Hey, exactly. I don't love him though. But the fact of the matter is, he causes volatility. And before I forget, let's get down to the business at hand because we already talked about what you're going to need to do. We got your debts reduced. We're talking about 8% weekly. But what I did not get to yet is I show you this. I'm going to give you the Bankus link because when you download your money after you get that, let's call it your 30% for every 4 weeks return, and you say, I want to download the money, and you download it to the Coinbase or regulated crypto central exchange. You know, these guys are so cool that they're going to tell the government how much money you took off their platform. How cool is that? No, it's not cool, ladies and gentlemen. That's not cool by any stretch of the imagination. This is the land of the free. So, the Bankus card is from Mexico City. I can download USDT, USDC, Bitcoin, Ethereum to this MasterCard. Debit MasterCard can be used anywhere in the world. And since it's not by a central exchange, I'll be doggone. They're not reporting nothing. So Coinbase and all these other regulated environments, they can just hold the bag. They can just hold whatever they hold in thin air because they're waiting for me to send something back through so they can send a trigger to the United States government. Unfortunately, you can keep waiting. And by the way, it's not trackable either because you don't know this number, first of all, and you're not going to have prime wealth advisors either. So have I got your attention yet, ladies and gentlemen? You making some money? Oh, by the way, both prime advisors and Bankus card holders, you can refer other people, and yes, they do give you a little bit of commission. So whatever. I don't really care about that. I care about freedom. So I can be anywhere in the world and still access my money. All right. Some of you don't know how bad this has gotten. This has gotten so bad out here. They got people doing all kind of crazy stuff out here. Just crazy. Wiser than most says facts. All right, Kathy Hughes Johnson, welcome to the SSN Nation Saturday Night Live special edition. Very happy to see you once again. And her tagline starts, glad I caught your show, sir. Thank you so much. And you know what I'm talking about, this Prime Advisors. You know. So again, ladies and gentlemen, let me get to the trading part, right? Because after the tariffs are revoked, the stock market went boom, 200 points on the Dow. That was your day that you could have actually spent a little bit of money and made a little bit more. It all depends on your perspective. I mean, if you started with 1,000 and all of a sudden in one day you made 500, that would be a good day. You started with 500 and made 200, that would be a good day. But how about if you can do that almost every day, especially with the ketchup man throwing ketchup against the wall after he heard the tariffs were revoked? And that's why the stock market went, because everybody's like, oh man, we got 20% we can cut off, shave off of prices. What do you say? 25% we can shave off of prices now? People can start buying again? Oh, hell yeah, let's go. But you know, he quickly did something else. So there's going to be a reaction on the market starting tomorrow evening and into Monday. His stocks could actually go higher or lower. But if you're in stock market trading, you can enjoy winning either way. And that is why the biggest thing ever is, why do you think all these wealthy guys want hedge funds? Why do you think they always want to be in this gray area where they're collecting all of everybody's money, and they otherwise known as assets under management? Because they have your 401k money. They have your pension fund investing in them. They get to use all that money for free. And when the stock market goes up, down, they're the ones reaping the benefits because they go, oh, we have $50 million that we invested today because we knew after the tariffs were revoked, we knew it was going to go up. So you see, they get to put in, 10, 20, $30 million. And let's just say a 20% movement On the stocks, you guys can start doing mathematics. They get to make millions in a day. Just saying. While you're slaving away to give them your 401k money, slaving away to buy their shares of stock. Yeah, I know it's an effed up game, but that's why you got to get in it, ladies and gentlemen. Again, I'm going to tell you guys something my whole life. I told my friends when I was 10 years old. Now I'm only playing. I was 17 years old. Okay. I was always a business guy. So I used to tell my friends, they go, Eric, what are you going to do? I'm going to tell you guys what I used to tell all my friends. It don't matter what shade of color they were. I said, I'm going to tell you right now. The only thing that makes sense to me is wherever them rich white guys invest, I need to own a company in that. So at one time, travel agencies was the thing. All the rich white guys had travel agencies. I said, let me get one. Then once I got one, I was sitting there going, no wonder these dudes are flying all over the world. Because did you know if you own a travel agency at the time, they had like free fam trips. Oh, some people don't know understand this language. So for instance, they'll say, hey, we have a free trip to France because they need people to come over there and look at it. So you're going to be over there for like 4 or 5 days. And we got the hotel for you. And you can bring somebody with you. I said, is this a joke right now? If you own a travel agency. I was like, oh my God. Then the guy sent some stuff going, oh, hey, you know what? Our Norwegian cruise lines, we're having a new opening of some sort. So we got like a 7-day cruise for you and another person for free. And if you need to bring some staff with you, we're going to charge them $20 a day, including taxes, port taxes. I was like, is this a joke right now? All over the freaking world? No wonder all these dudes own these stuff. And everybody that calls your travel agency, whether it's hotels, whether it's airfare, whether it's domestic or international, we were getting 10 to 15% on domestic. International, sky's the limit. Because brokers would buy large swaths of a route. So let's just give you an example. I'm a broker. I sell to travel agencies only, but I went and bought the route. Let's just use New York to Zurich, Switzerland. And they bought the prices for $300. All right, a person. But they're going to sell it to the travel agents for 400. Or yeah, it's probably about right. 400. But when a person would go look online or call up a travel agency, they're going to go, oh, that's $950 a person. Oh, you want business class? No problem. I'm sorry though, but it's going to cost you $1,595 a person. Meanwhile, you got this for $500 a person, ladies and gentlemen. This is what was going down. I was enjoying every bit of it. Every bit of it. Yeah, people were shocked when they rolled in the office and being like, "Oh yeah, that guy back there, that young cat back there, he owns this spot." They're like, "What? He's got the best deals around." I said, "You're damn right." Because you know what I did? I went down to LA. I went over to New York. The brokers in those two locations had each coast. So if we're going to Asia, LAX, the brokers down there, because they had deals at the LAX airport or SFO airport. New York, JFK. LaGuardia came up later. But the point is, they had the best deals from those two locations. So these guys had stuff like whatever it was incredible. They would have things like going over to either Asia or the other place, sometimes $200. Oh, by the way, when I give these numbers, I'm talking about round trip. I'm not talking about each way. All right. That's what I mean, so these dudes were making hand over fist. It was insanity. But anyhow, since I left out Friday night, story night, I figured I'd tell you tonight since it's Saturday night, story night. Yeah. Oh, I see I messed up. I put in a whole bunch of stuff that's not going to come up in chat. What was that for? That was for Prime Wealth. I messed up, ladies and gentlemen. So I got to give you the link for Prime Wealth again as I was scrolling through. All right. Like I told you guys, I'm one of the, well, I hate to toot horns, but I'm one of the most dangerous dudes in America when I was younger. Because they were like, this this dude's only like 24, 25 years old. What's happening? It must be illegal. It must be illegal. Something's wrong. Okay. I'm going to do two things right now. I'm going to give you Prime Health. Well, hold on. Let me just do it this way. Prime Wealth Advisors earn 8% weekly. Yes, it's high risk, high reward. So do your own due diligence. All right. Our own Vanessa Comagate, Biznessa, she referred other people. And later this year, they had she's an ambassador for Prime Wealth Advisors. And they have people going round trip airfare for free, hotel accommodations for free, because she is an ambassador to go over to the UK later this year. I think it's going to be in November, maybe even October. I don't know. It's October or November. Yeah, because she referred other people. So there's that. Just saying. All right. Now let's get back to the business at hand, because some people were saying bank us, right? That's what I'm saying. We'll get back into a story night again, since I didn't do Friday night. But let me get Bankus as well, because again, this is how you have money go outside the United States, not detected. And then number two, you guys, I started off with trading. So I got to get you the Candlestick Bible. We're back. All right. So you can go get the Candlestick Bible. In fact, let me do it this way. And if you want to start learning how to trade, I'm just going to give you some advice. This is not for the meek, and this is not for somebody that wants to get rich quick. You need money management skills. You need to study. There are people that have done this for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, and they've taken L's before they became profitable. So if that's the sign, then that tells me one thing. You better study, and study some more before you start thinking about using your hard-earned money. Because even then, 90% of first-time traders lose their money because they, first of all, don't have money management, which is a huge faux pas, big time faux pas. So I highly recommend you do that. I highly recommend you go online and start studying other people and what they say. And then the other factor is, how do you do demos? You can have demo accounts with any broker, but once again, staying with the theme. All right, staying with this theme. What broker do I use? Is a very ordinary, regular CoinEx. And everybody knows why. They are not regulated by the United States government, so they don't have to send anything to them when and you use crypto, by the way. Just saying, they have a demo account, so you don't have to upload anything. You could play around in the demo account. All right. And it'll tell you to download MetaTrader 4 or MetaTrader 5. That's what they use. MetaTrader 4 is the old system, so to speak. It's older. MetaTrader 5 is the newer one for the MetaTraders. So there, I messed up again? No, I didn't. Okay, cool. I messed up the first time. All right. So let's go. We got somebody else in the house. The Wire. Welcome to the SSN Nation. Saturday Night Live Special Edition, and brings this tagline: True P. Trump 2027. Hey, man, he's done exactly what we expected. Chaos, mayhem, volatility in the stock market, which means it's good for you if that's what you're into. That's why you need to be in. Get the bag regardless. Exactly, man. That's what you got to do. So here is the CoinX. I'm putting it down now. Why is CoinX? Again, because when you upload to your central exchange, your US, and you need to swap it into USDT, you send over $1,000. They're sitting there going, are we going to tell the government or not? Okay, maybe not. We'll just wait for the download. So anyhow, you send it up to CoinX. Once again, that's once you get good. All right. After the candlestick Bible and all that, now you decide you got to do. Hold on. Did I mess up again? Don't tell me I messed up again. That's 8% prime. Where's the candlestick Bible? Okay, well, fine. I put in CoinX. So again, here's the thing. They're also not inside USA. And when they download, since they're not at the central exchange in the US, I can download too. Just saying. Or Prime Wealth Advisors as well. Doesn't come back through the US on the central exchange platform. Just saying. All right. Get the bag regardless. All right. Here we go. Fur 8740. Welcome to the SSN Nation Saturday night, late night live edition. Very happy to see you. Jesse Jackson was the CIA informant on King. Hey, could be. Videos are popping up from 60s and 70s. Hey, you know what? I don't know. I can't say I'm not into the Jesse Jackson thing. Quite frankly, I'm going to tell you guys something right now, being a black guy in America. I'm just going to say right now, when dude came out in 1980, I believe it was 87-ish, 86-ish, 88-ish, somewhere in there, and he said, just call us African Americans. I was like, dude, what are you doing right now? Right then and there, he's suspect to me. I'm like, dude, hold up on this. Everybody born in America is an American. Hold up. I'm pretty sure I don't see nothing on any applications anywhere that goes, oh yeah, Switzerland American, UK American. Yeah, I don't see none of that. French American, Israeli American, nah, Italian American. I don't see none of that. Why are we going around with this African American nonsense? You know why, ladies and gentlemen? Because when you sign and cross that X and it says African American, do you understand that means you're not a citizen of the United States? Potentially, if these guys want to go that route. I'm just saying. So anyhow, in my mind, I'm like, hold up, man. You just said some suspect. Oh, that right there? Just called you speaking for me? No, you ain't speaking for me, man. No. You don't understand. You know what country you live in? These dudes are going to use that against you. And you guys know what dudes I'm talking about. Come on, let's get real out here. All right. This government, by law, has discriminatory actions and allowed it. Jim Crow allowed. Slavery allowed, just for starters. Women can't vote, allowed. Black people can't own land or vote or have bank accounts, allowed. Women, no bank accounts, allowed. Come on now. Stop playing out here, ladies and gentlemen. You know what country you live in. Let's get real. This does not surprise me at all if it was, because when he said that suspect thing right there, I was like, turn off. Dude, just stop it. Yeah, Messy Jesse wasn't right. Wiser the most. Yeah, I'm just going to say, man, that was crazy talk right then. Phoenix is not regulated. Okay, Ferd, I don't know who Phoenix. In fact, somebody mentioned this before. If you were here before, then it must have been you. I'm not familiar with Phoenix. So again, let me. I tell everybody to have a pen, pad, and paper, but I don't have one. Come on now. We got something. Hold on. I got to write this down because I want to remember this. Because this was spoken about before, and I got to go check them out. All right. Let me go check this out too. I always like options, right? I like options. So just keep that in mind. All right. Thank you so much for that, everybody. Or FERT 8740. Tay's in the house. Welcome to the SSN Nation Saturday Night Live Late Night Edition. And what did I miss? You missed nothing that you don't already know about. But I've had the pleasure of giving people the candlestick Bible. Let me go over here and put this in just in case I forgot, and I might not have gotten low enough yet. Get your candlestick Bible, get your CoinEx, get your Prime Wealth Advisors link, sign up for all this Bankus, download the app, get on with the program, ladies and gentlemen. All right, so I'll see if I put some of these things in. What did I miss? Sign of the time says low per. Welcome to the SSN Nation Saturday night, late night live edition. And he says, sign of the times. You got that right. You always got to be into the sign of the times. You don't listen to somebody that sits up there and tells you, hey, stock market's doing great. You guys should be all happy if you're not in the stock market. Just saying, that makes no sense. So who won has time to get gold then? Okay, a little bit of gold, a little bit of silver. Again, all the silver stackers and gold stackers, you guys learned another valuable lesson. So when it went up to $5,500 for gold and you went to go find those dealers that were going to buy it, they were all like, I'm sorry, that's not going to happen. No, we're not buying it. We're not buying it at 53. We're not buying it at 52. Sorry. All the people that were saying, hey, oh man, this is a great price. I'm going to sell at 116. The silver dealers are like, no. We already bought as much as we can right now. It's not going to happen. No shocker. I've been telling you guys for years. Do you guys don't know history? I guess I will tell. You know what happened during the Great Depression? The banks closed their door, calling it a holiday, so now people couldn't get their money. Then the government said, be patriotic, because we're broke. We have a problem. Can you give us your gold and silver? Oh, you're not? Only a few of you are? You got to be patriotic. Give it to us. This will help save our country. People were like, I don't know about all that. So they said, oh, okay, fine. We'll just ban the gold. We'll ban the silver. Now we'll get it. And then people said, I don't think so. They started melting it down and making it into jewelry. So now they're wearing the jewelry around so it wouldn't get taken by the United States government. Do you know what country you live in? Again, I just keep repeating this. Do you know what country you live in? Apparently people don't. But this is good when they ban books, because then people are stupid and they don't realize what the government has done before, so they're going to do it again. But anyhow, I digress. Yeah. So with the gold situation, again, I'll just say it again. If I have 50 pounds, because the gold bars and gold coins and all that do weigh. If I have 50 pounds of gold or 50 pounds of silver and there's an emergency, where are you running to? You're not going on a plane fast anywhere. In fact, you're not carrying it anywhere too far. So again, I have a different point of view, and knowing that the government has banned it and done all crazy stuff like that, both gold and silver, made laws, by the way. Now you would understand why I have my point of view. And then I have to chuckle when the people in Venezuela were thinking just like the American citizens, I have gold, I have silver. Well, guess what Venezuela did 7-8 years back? They said the same thing the United States said. We need your gold. We need your silver. Be patriotic. Give it to us so you can save the country. People were like, hell no. I don't believe you. So the government said, okay, we're going to be against the people. The people said, oh, hell no, we got to leave. Let's get out of here. So all the gold and silver guys were carrying their gold and silver across the border to Colombia. They got to Colombia. Colombia said, yeah, I know the gold is, I can't remember what it was, but I know the gold is, I'll give you an example, is $2,000 an ounce on COMEX. And I know silver's like $25 or $30 an ounce also. But since you're fleeing your country, we're not paying you that. Have you lost your mind right now? I'm sorry. We know you need the money, so hey, we'll give you half. Yeah, I know. This is the stuff, that how they keep the good people down, the ordinary citizens. After they screw up the economy and things that people should hold go up in value, they figure out a way to make sure you can't get your money. And of course, it's not the government, it's citizens. Because citizens is a business, they know they can screw you, they will. So you're thinking you're dealing with one set of vultures, now you're dealing with another when it's a time of need. When there's blood in the streets, it's hard to get what you want. And so they were taking advantage of people coming across the border from Venezuela stressed out. They said, hell no, we ain't giving you that money right now. And by the way, all the silver stackers, before that happened, I had a conversation because, uh, I used to have the stacker guys on, and we always had the conversation. I said, so why didn't all you gold and silver stackers, when Venezuela was going down before, why didn't you all go get all that property and all them warehouses and all those businesses that you could buy with your stacking of gold and silver? Because you guys told me that if a country goes down, you're all good. You should be able to go buy stuff up for today's price. Well, of course, they could not do that because, of course, the problem is if I get on a plane, I some metal, some gold and silver, and I got to go through customs. Uh, Good luck. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I got to have a little fun because let's talk all it what it is. I got a Gary Wolf. Welcome to the SSN Nation Saturday night, late night live edition. And he brings his tagline, have to match the frequency. There you go, man. Okay, here we go. It's okay. So we know. Okay, Joshua Tree, let your anger out. Throw it up against the wall, Eric. Hey, Joshua Tree, I got to tell you something, man. I don't even have anger for real. The point of the matter is, it just is fascinating and funny. I get angry. I guess I don't even know how to really say it. This is not even anger. It's just more of this is when I think about it. It makes me like, ah. But I've already been living this life, man. I've been living this life. Like I said, you guys know when government's after you. I know 99% of you don't know that, right? You don't know what it feels like. People right now on social media, they say something like how I say something. People can go after them, try to get them losing their jobs, call up their job and say they're a bad person or lie about it. They can do whatever they want these days because since there's social media, they can track people down, right? So they can find out a bunch of things that back in the day you couldn't find out. But what if those same people are descendants of the feds, the state corrupt police, right? Okay. So those same people that call people up because they may not like what you said because they don't like free speech and they're snowflakes. But the point of the matter is they're the same ones that grew up. Their parents were those back in the day that said, oh no, he's telling people what to do. We can't have this. Plus, he's a black dude too. He's helping black people, white people, Mexican people, Italians, the Irish. He's helping everybody. They're like hanging out. We can't keep them separated. And he's telling them all for free. He ain't even charging them in a room. We got to stop this. Yeah. Your government does that. Larry Wilcox, there we go. Just want a piece of the pie. Hey, that's what everybody wants. Everybody wants a piece of the pie and an opportunity. Nobody wants a free handout, so to speak. Nobody really wants, they just want, if you work your ass off, you do good, you do a good job, you just want to be appreciated and get a promotion, an opportunity to perform, not a shutdown. They don't want you. That's the thing. Opportunity is what everybody wants. That's why America's America, because people fled other countries because there was an opportunity here in America. America wasn't this land of, oh, we don't care about immigrants and all this crap. America was that shining place where everybody, no matter who you were, could come here and make a life and succeed, even if you came with $5 or zero money in your pocket. But the federal government of America helped people that would come here from foreign lands most of the time. Now, all of a sudden, the descendants of those people are sitting here going, you know what? We need to pull up the bridge, pull up the ladder. We can't have other people coming in here because we don't like what they look like. Although, does anybody actually know about the Louisiana Purchase? Or does anybody know about Texas and the Alamo and what they were fighting over? Does anybody know what happened when you bought California, New Mexico, Arizona? You know, when America bought California, New Mexico, Arizona, and they let Texas become their own state? You do realize Mexican, Latin, Black people already lived on Mexican land. And since the United States bought the Mexican land, the deal was those people would become United States citizens. I digress, but oh, I forgot. America lies. Every treaty they've ever had, they've broken. So this was no different. So after they said that as a condition of Mexico selling it to them, they turned around and said, oh, no, we don't want these Asians. We don't want these Latin people. And we damn sure don't want these black people over here, man, on their own land and property and all this. And we're supposed to let them have it? Have you lost your freaking mind? We're descendants from the EU. This is hilarious stuff. Hey, go check it out. Chat GPT, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, not Chat GPT. Google. Just Google. This is why they have to ban books. Because if you don't know history, you don't realize how effed up this is. So these people who told that they can be citizens of this country after they bought the land, and then all of a sudden they said, oh, no, we're going to send you to a concentration camp. We're going to send you over here. No, you got to go back across this border. Oh, what border? What border are you talking about out here? There's no border. This is Mexico. No. United States bought it. We have a line over here now. We're not going to go by that agreement. You need to get back across that line. So what if it's 200 miles that way? Get back over there. They're like, wait, this is my land. I lived here. My parents lived here. My great grandparents all lived on this land. What are you talking about? Okay, I digress, ladies and gentlemen. Done need to be whole plate. Man, no, you don't need the whole plate, man. You just need a piece. That's the point. That's why I'm saying you guys got to get into that stock trading. All right. That's mandatory at this point because that's the last frontier, in my opinion, that they won't let fall down. And if it does fall down, you sell short because it's going down. Or if all of a sudden it goes up, you buy. So either way, you get to win. The world above. Heck, Jay-Z has tied to all them elite people more than any other person in hip hop. Yeah. And again, Loper, but nobody went to jail in the Epstein files. Exactly. Of course not. You know why? Just like Trump said, they're my friends. Just like Pam Bondi said, our government would cease to exist. Do you know how many effed up people are messing around with little kids? You guys have you guys don't know where you live. So all this time that these guys are projecting, oh, we care about the kids. You really bought that, didn't you? You really bought. You know what kids they care about? The ones that are going to be missing. And as soon as they can go, we care about the kids, so that they can send these same corrupt individuals to your house to tell you we got to separate you because somebody said that You were beating and raping your kids and all that. So we got to take them and put them in CPS custody, Child Protective Services, and you don't get to see them. Or you'd be like the pedophiles that are in office right now, and you say, hey, we're going to separate the immigrants' kids at the border, and we're not going to tell you where they are. Yeah, there's still thousands of kids missing on the MIA list from 2017 to 2021. Never mind the ones that are taken right now. But we care about that fentanyl because it's for the kids. It's going to hurt the kids. Come on, stop this out here, ladies and gentlemen. You guys falling for all this garbage. Story night. You guys have probably already heard about this one before, but I'm going to tell it again because it's so sickening. Nobody went to jail in them Epstein's file, and they're not going to yet. Unless, of course, there's a possibility, depending on what happens in about 9 months. What is the mark of the beast, Eric? I believe it's 666, right? Isn't that supposed to be what the mark is? But is the mark really 666? No, it's not like there's going to be a 666 on somebody's head. All right, kids grow up just to be ungrateful when you sacrifice so much for them. Fert, 8740. Well, guess what, Fert? You hit that right on the head. Because the generation, how many times? I'm going to explain this again, just like I explained before. In the 1980, starting right then and there, 80, 81, 82, when kids played sports, when kids was in any competition, all of a sudden, the snowflakes from the EU started going, oh, my kids, they feel bad because they can't win at anything. The mediocre dude can't win. The loser can't win. So we don't want them to feel bad. We got to give them all a trophy. Every team. Even if they came in last place, we got to give them something. I said right then, I said, you know what you're doing right now? I said, all these weak ass motherfuckers are going to be up here later on and they're going to think their mediocre crap is worth something. And they're going to be in charge. Fast forward, sure enough, boom. This was not very hard to see psychologically why. You're a winner even though you're a loser. You're a winner even though you're mediocre. You set the stage. Those people are now what? 40 to 50 running your government. Or shall I say our government. Sad. We didn't see this coming, did we? By the way, and shall I go on further? Because the problem after that is, since you already have a built-in discriminatory situation, that means you're going to have way more white people, mediocre white people, losers, in power than you will, oh, my favorite, DEI person. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what black person got a free ride. How can a black person be DEI? Are you serious right now? Oh, sure. They let some loser black person have a job. Please, give me a break. Seriously? No, how it works is they let some loser European descendants get a job over a well qualified minority. That is what actually happened. So there is nowhere in America that a black person that's successful got through the cracks. Please. Let's get real. Meanwhile, I have all these white dudes being able to go to Harvard because their father and grandfather went to Harvard and they get to bypass admissions. That is DEI. And that's why you have all these clowns in this administration that went to these prestigious schools that don't know jack diddly nothing. Oh, and by the way, that Wharton graduate, I don't really know about his dad buying up a little building over there to make sure his kid can go to that school, and I don't know about the professor that said he's the dumbest kid in my class. I know. It's hard to believe that this guy would be running for president and a draft dodger to boot 5 times. But he's the greatest tennis player, the greatest baseball player, and all this stuff. But he had bone spurs. I know. See, these mediocre losers, man. This is what happens when they get power. They don't know what to do with themselves. Assholes. All right, kids grow up just to be ungrateful. This is why kids grow up to be ungrateful, by the way, Fert, because um you you have to work your behind off. They don't know what you had to go through when they were 2 years old, when they're 5 years old, when they're 10 years old. They don't know that you were working 2 jobs, trying to keep food on the table, make sure they had health care coverage, make sure they can get to school on time, make sure you can pick them up from school, make sure you have those activities as they got older, you can go and make sure you're there. Every day they had food on the table, clothes on their backs. And all they do after they get older is say, well, you were supposed to. Yeah, it wasn't. I didn't want you to bring me into this life. You brought me into this life. I'm like, hey, oh, hold up now. This is where I get a little bit like, I'm sorry. Sorry. Uh, let's start from the beginning. I'm a black guy in America. I ain't some white dude in America. The mediocre loser bullshit stuff. I'm sorry. I had to work my ass off at lower pay. And I had to work 2 jobs while you're sitting comfortably at the house sleeping. You get up in the morning. I had to be there to take you to school and get to my job and make sure you were fed in the morning. I'm sorry. Who are you talking to right now? I put in work beyond what your ass is ever going to dream of because all of my sacrifice made sure that when you're 18, 19, 17, you could do whatever you wanted to do without any liabilities whatsoever. And I was all there for it. So now, you better go talk to some of them white parents out there. Because my daughters, I'm just saying. I used to say, I'm just telling you guys the honest truth. That's what I used to say because I lived in an area where mostly my daughters would go to school with white children. So they have a whole different dynamic. So I said, I'm sorry. No, I was here. I was at your plays. I was at the soccer. I was at the basketball. I was at all this stuff. I wasn't absent. I'm sorry. Sorry, you can't play me. So don't give me this crap. I was doing what you'll never dream of to make sure that you were safe, secure, and no problems. So I'm sorry. You better go talk to somebody else about this nonsense. You ain't getting no. And you're right. They're ungrateful, but I don't have no problems. You can't talk to me. I'm sorry. You can be ungrateful. You don't have to do whatever. All right. But you're right. You're right. And they're going to be ungrateful because in America, you have a lot of people that are getting things for a long time that didn't have to work for it, including some children. They think it's easy out here because all they got to do was this video game nonsense. I shouldn't even get into this. All right, earn 8%, ladies and gentlemen. This is why, another reason, I'm going to tell you guys the other factor. Everybody out here, they sold you a bill of goods, right? You're supposed to have a nice job. Okay, fine. Or a business. But the thing about a home, again, they have sold this thing about homes were always a pretty decent type of investment, even though it's a liability, because it would go up in value over time. So you could tap into the equity. But now insurance and property taxes are so high and they're escalating because you have less people working. You have less people making the wages go up to offset everything that's in the county or the city. So they have to make up this windfall from somewhere, this losses, because it costs way more now to run things than it did back then. So now all of a sudden your property taxes are skyrocketing every year and your insurance is skyrocketing every year because insurance is sitting there saying, okay, we're not going to cover people that are at high risk. Why would we do that? We'll just cancel them and get the people that pay all the time and they're not high risk. And all we got to do is just raise their prices 30, 40%. And the numbers match. But now you have a whole bunch of people without insurance. And now the property tax guys who have to pay higher insurance, or the tax collector, property tax guys have to pay more in their insurances, have to pay more in the cost to run a city or county. So now they have to raise the prices, right? Have a house that's sitting there saying, what did they say? They said the house was worth 300 and some three. I'll give you some examples. $350,000 for the house. And that's what they based the tax on, your property tax on. So I was like, there's not a house that sold for over $250,000 in the last 3 years in this whole county. So where are you getting this $350,000 house from? It doesn't exist. But now they raised the price to 350 because then when they only do, what is it, 40 or something percent of that, now that gets it down to the real average prices in the neighborhood. And then they charge you your 1% on top of that, or 2%, whatever it is, 1.5, 1.5. But the point is, that's what they're out here doing, which is illegal, against the rules, their own rules. But the United States government does not care because you don't own your house. If you don't pay your taxes, your house is going to be gone after 2 years. Somebody will buy your tax lien, and if you don't pay them 3 to 5% interest on top of, then he could actually put a lien and foreclose on the house. So you see, that bill of goods means you're going to rent for life one way or another. The lost generation already realized they're going to rent for life because that's what it is. They're not calling home ownership. They're not calling it home ownership when you have to pay rent. And some people go, well, it's rent. You don't get the appreciation. Well, again, there's two trains of thought. If you rent, you have flexibility. If you own, you have no flexibility because when they raise your property taxes and your insurance, you got to pay it, especially if you have a mortgage. Just saying. All right. I got a lot to talk about tonight. Let's get into something else, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna end this shortly, but I think I've gotten everything out, and now we're into some other stuff. All right, now it's FBA. Now, okay, that's old stuff. Hillary Clinton said Margaret Sanger and Robert Byrd was her mentors and heroes. Damn, Robert Byrd. Damn. Yeah, I know who Robert Byrd is. He was like this racist dude. I think he's from South Carolina or North Carolina, one of them. And Margaret's Sanger. Oh, another bad person. Hey, come on. Hillary Clinton is just like, well, okay, hold on. She's a little different. She went to one of them schools as well, right? Right. So, and if she's into Sanger, I hope she revoked some of this stuff. But she never seemed like it, quite frankly. Let's just get real. All right, let's just get real. She never seemed very comfortable around people of color. Let's just get real. You have to get rid of your old self and lean into the new. Let go of old friends and ways. Wiser than most. Hey, man, what are friends in reality? I have lots of friends that I thought were friends. AI killed the music business and no jobs by 2030. Loper, it's going to be before that. It's going to be before that. It's not going to take 4 years. It's over. They have to put in rules right now to figure out how. I don't even know how they're going to deal with this AI and imagery and all that when anybody can produce the image in AI and you could tweak the image. And is a voice really copywritten? I mean, so you can make somebody resemble somebody with the voice that sounds almost the same as somebody, but it's not. So how are they going to deal with this? They're not going to deal with this. And especially they're not going to deal with it except you live in America. So America is going to make sure you can't do anything. But everybody outside, not everybody, but Asian markets, Indian markets, I'm talking about India as the country, Indian markets, they don't care about copyright laws. The rest of the world is going to have all your stuff either way. So I don't know what they're going to do about it. All I know is whoever is buying into the AI thing, sooner or later, there's going to be a drop because the revenue generated from AI is nothing because AI doesn't produce anything. That's why I told you guys go to Chat GPT, look up an irrevocable trust and how to start one, and then they'll tell you you need beneficiaries. You need to have anybody as the grantor because you want a non-grantor irrevocable trust, meaning whatever you put in the trust, you can't touch. Or okay, hold on, let me help people out here. You don't want to be the grantor of your trust. How do you make it your trust? Anybody can be the grantor. You need to be the trustee because the trustee controls the trust. You make the rules. So you spend a little time with Chat GPT, go with their recommendations, then you can tweak it for your own rules. So when you do go see an estate planner, you go, hey, here's what I'm thinking about. How much you want to charge to play the game? And they're going to go, $5,000, $10,000 just to start. I'm like, I don't think so. AI, sorry. Sorry, you can't be charging me no 5, 10 grand no more. Ain't gonna happen. Then they're gonna say, of course, rightfully, hey, you need a professional to come check this out. You don't know. Hold on. Hey, ChatGPT put in the state laws and the federal government laws that all this stuff meets its criteria. And it's doing what I want. They're claiming everything I'm doing is straight legitimate from all walks of the internet life. We're sourcing all this information. Boom. No, sorry, you can't charge me no 5 to 10 G's no more. Ain't gonna happen. Because I can actually take this down and file this without your ass. Anyhow, if I wanted to, if I feel comfortable. But let me run it through let me run it through Grok. Let's see what they say. But anyhow, all this is gonna happen. I mean, they're gonna, the business, the music, TV, all of it, video, everything's going to be affected by AI. And unfortunately, there's nothing. AI is as a promise that's not going to be kept. Ultimately, AI is going to be able to do all kind of things, but unfortunately, it doesn't produce jobs and it's not going to produce income for these companies that are spending billions together. It's which ends up being trillions of dollars all combined in the AI businesses. They're not going to be able to recoup that money. So, but jobs are going to be gone and businesses gone. Here we go. Just like McDonald's serving human meat. Oh, world above, man. Don't even, man. See, some people know what's happening. That's why you don't eat at McDonald's. Hey, for that matter, that's why you don't eat at Chick-fil-A. That's why you don't eat at none of these fast food spots. This is Soylent Green, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, if you don't know the movie Soylent Green, go watch it. This is Soylent Green. This is why you cannot trust any food sources. This is why you need to have your box out back, your gardens out back, as much that you can grow yourself. Do not use Roundup and pesticides on your food products or steroids if you're having, well, I don't know why you're going to eat that much meat, but I'm just saying. You need to have things naturally and you need to be cognizant of your resources that you're using. Health is wealth, ladies and gentlemen. You're right about that, man. You're right. Nancy Pelosi, insider trading. It ain't just Nancy Pelosi, man. Come on, man. It's not just, it's all these guys. Trump and his whole cabinet do insider trading. They tell their friends, I'm going to announce this coming up. So all their friends are making trades 5 minutes before he announces stuff. Blatant. It's not just her. It's everybody that's on the finance committee, All of them, when they leave the committee, they call up their brokers and tell them to do deals. All of them, both sides of the aisle, which is sickening. And that's why these guys in the government will not bring forth a law that says you cannot, your friends, your family, your extensions, nobody can actually trade stocks. They're not going to, hey, you know who brought it up? The Dem side. They said, hey, man, why don't we get this straight? Just like there should be an ethics for the Supreme Court. All of this is on one side of the aisle. GOP's just like, nah, we're going to be rogue, man. We can't have that. So there you have it. But you're right. Nancy Pelosi, a bunch of people. But yet, Martha Stewart gets to go to jail just because she called her broker on some friend of hers said something, and then she called her broker and they made a trade. But they're not going to do nothing to people in government. Just like government standing in the house of the people lying. That used to be a thing. But of course, Congress made a law that said you can tell lies. And now that's what's happened to America, right? Because you can tell lies. All right. Oh, we got more. We got more. MDA, how's your trading been going? Okay. Quite frankly, I'm only up $1,450. That's it. I haven't been trading though that much, quite frankly, because I've been dealing with family situations. My aunt's in the hospital and she's been having some surgeries. So that's why didn't have the Friday night. That's why this Saturday show is this late, because I was at the hospital because she had surgery yesterday. A late afternoon surgery, by the way. And then her recoveries today, so had to be there. And so doctors only make their rounds in the day. So actually, I wanted this to be noon, then 3, then 6, and then was at the hospital till 6 something. So that's why I got here late. But that's how it's going, man. So I haven't been able to get into it, quite frankly, enjoy all of the ride. So I had to enjoy it a different way, right? Some dividends and at 17, 18% annually kind of stuff. ARR, ORC, PSEC. Those are stock symbols, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So I had to do it that way. So, and when you refer people for Bankus, yes, they do give you 1% of when a person buys this plastic card or they buy the metal card. Then every time somebody uploads, they give you 1% of the upload amount. So get to make a little bit of money on that too. Prime Wealth Advisors, you refer other people, they give you a little bit of money on that too. So you know. YouTube, on the other hand, not so much love. All right. Okay. So anyhow, Candlestick Trading Bible as MDA0214. Welcome to the SSN Nation Saturday night live, late night edition. All right. Let's go. Make sure you guys smash that like button. All right, please. And make sure you tell other people what's going on around here, because we have more. What more do we have? You got to get your credit right. So I should mention smart credit as well. Right? This is a credit monitoring system. So check it out. Just go use the link. Sometimes they have things like $1. Yeah, I know. It's kind of cool. $1 a month for like 6 months. So that's not a bad deal, right? To monitor your credit, get help with boosting your credit. Not bad. Oh, by the way, unstoppable domain, ladies and gentlemen. Unstoppable domain. I forgot all about that. This right here, you need to go get an unstoppable domain. Why? Because ericbird.crypto, ericbird.nft, stopstrugglingnow.crypto, stopstrugglingnow.nft, ssnlifestyle.crypto, ssnlifestyle.nft. The reason why is because you don't have to give people your alphanumeric character. So if somebody's going to send me crypto, all I have to do is say, stopstrugglingnow.crypto. The person that sends me the crypto, well, they know my stopstrugglingnow.crypto, but they don't know until they see the transaction hash what my wallet address is. All right. Again, I like a little more anonymity than the United States government because eventually they're going to take your money. Let's just call it what it is. All right. So, anyhow, I gave you guys the smart credit link. Now I'm about to give you the unstoppable dot domains link. And this is only $25 for life. For life. There's no annual fee like a .com. And you can put up like 1, 2, 3 pages on your blockchain. It's on the blockchain. You mint it, ladies and gentlemen, as well. So it's on the blockchain, so nobody can take it down. So the only difference with the blockchains are they haven't been able to, you can make little videos on there and stuff like that, but you can't live stream or anything. So what's going to be very interesting is in the future, potentially, I'm just saying it's worth $20, $15, $10. They have specials sometime to have one of these things. Because what happens if in the future, like right now, you have a website, somebody doesn't like you, they call your ISP, okay? Internet service provider. They say, oh no, the dude's been talking smack. We don't like him. He's a racist. He's a pedophile. He's all this, that, and the other. And the government calls up and says, hey man, you need to take his stuff down. Yes, yes, sir. But guess what? With blockchain, they can't do that. So just leave yourself a little bit of flexibility for 10, 15, 20, $25. I'm just saying. And even if you don't, you never know what the future is going to be. But if it costs you zero to hold, then you should think about unstoppable domains. All right. And if things are going to go according to plan, right? Everything's going to be regulated. Well, not everything. In the United States, everything's going to be regulated. They need to know about where your crypto is, your bank accounts are, your brokerage accounts are. Even if you leave the country, they want to make sure that they can track your ass. So if you're sending any money in and out of the United States, they want to know where your bank account is over there. All right. So it's up to you what you want to give them. Just saying. Oh, sorry to hear that. Hope she have a speedy recovery. Thank you, MDA0214. I appreciate that, man. She's been going through it, man. She got a skin graft this time. So hopefully it takes 4 to 6 weeks, but we'll know within probably a week or two if the skin graft is taken in with her other skin cells. And that would be the most awesome thing because she has a hole that's like this big in her back. And at one time, you could see straight through to her skeletal. I was like, oh my God, this is bad. Crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. Oh man, Gary Wolf, yep. So again, just saying, ladies and gentlemen, tariffs revoked is a good thing. Him saying, oh, I'm going to do 10, 15%, 20%, or whatever it is because they revoked that, I'm going to do it anyhow. That also means market volatility. So once again, you've put yourself in position once you learn how to trade one way or another. MDA0214, he looks at financials, he does trades, he does options, he does several things. A lot of people here trade in the stock market different ways. Some people buy stocks, some people trade stocks. There's a big thing out here there's so much opportunity. You need to learn the best one that fits your skill set and your mind because not everybody's good with numbers. That was always one of the things, I loved math because people freak out over numbers. But the thing about math was there's one answer. You don't get to have subjective. You don't get to say, oh, well, 1 + 1, it equals 5 because I think no, sorry. Don't work like that. Like I said, I'll just give the story. I've said this before. I'm sitting there in, I don't know what class it was, but whatever class it is, I'm writing, in high school, we used to have to write reports. Once again, I didn't grow up in poverty. I didn't grow up in a bad situation. My parents were, my dad's an officer in the military, so my life was cool. I lived on military bases. It's all cool, all love, right? Everything's free. Community center, basketball courts, soccer fields, everything's all over the place. People of color all over the place, a mixed environment, cheap stuff. I remember a little kid going to a bin Oh, I got to get. Go to a bin in Puerto Rico at the BX. There's a blue, white, and red shoe with the swoosh on it. A pair of shoes, $2. I come back to the United States a few years later. I see basketball players, professional basketball players wearing a shoe with a swoosh on it. And I'm hearing some dude in Nike talking about, oh, my secretary made this swoosh thing. I'm like, this mother is lying. Those shoes were freaking $2 in the bin at BX because they're made over in Korea or China or something. And this dude acting like his secretary made the swoosh logo. He's lying. Nike was an Asian shoe that was cheap, $2 a pair. All right. And later on, I see some dude calling them Nikes, and he's giving a story. And I'm like, he's lying. And I'm telling people right now, he's still lying to this day. Luckily, I shouldn't say luckily. I've never accidentally ran into the dude because I want to tell him, I'm like, dude, I know you're lying. Why are you acting like your secretary made this up? The shoe was already made in Asia. You just basically went to Asia and whatever company was selling these cheap ass shoes, you got it. And then why don't you just tell the story like it's supposed to be? You didn't create this. Stop playing right now. So come to find out, the Nike owner dude, I find out from Bay Area, California. I'm a California kid. And he used to have shoe stores. And what do you know? He used to, outside of the United States at one time, they used to sell shoes called Tigers. So if you traveled around the world, you would see these Tiger shoes more than you would see any other shoes at one time. Running shoes, that is. They were running shoes, track and field, and all that. So that's what he would have in his store. I said, so once you understand, yeah, and Tigers, you had to go to the Asia because that's where they were made. And so your ass went over there and you saw that swoosh thing going, that's kind of cool. And how much is this? Oh yeah, cheap as hell. Let me do some stuff with this. I think we can make a deal. I'm saying you playing people out here. But anyhow, they created an empire, so that's great. But I'm just letting you guys know the history is not what the history is. All right. This is funny how these people change the history when they don't want to give credit to people. All right, enough, man. I shouldn't keep going on and on about this. But anyhow, the subjective thing, I'll end the story shortly. The subjective thing, I write a report, I come out, this teacher gives me like a C plus. Well, let me explain. At my house, before they had computers, I had encyclopedias. All right, my parents went to school. They, they. Even though my dad's in the military, he knows something. My mom was a teacher, nurse, but they believed in the education. So we had encyclopedias that they didn't even have at the library, for starters. So you can imagine my surprise when I do my report and I get a C plus. And I'm like, the teacher gives me some BS like, hey, Eric, well, you were a little off in some of the stuff that you were talking about and yada, yada, yada. I'm like, off? What do you mean I'm off? I got two different sets of encyclopedia. So I don't know what the heck you talking about right now. They don't even have this stuff at the library. They have some of it, but not all of it. I have books, chapters, a bunch of stuff. They tell me, no, no, no. So I said, oh, okay. Because I'm like, maybe my report isn't that good. I have to be honest with myself, just like everybody should be honest with themselves. Just because you think, what you're doing is a good job, maybe you're not really doing a good job. So you should go check. So of course I check. I go see my roommates after class. I mean, not roommates, but my classmates after class. And I say, hey man, what did you get on your report? They're like, oh, I got an A minus. I said, really? So that's pretty good. And another person, I got A plus. Hey man, you guys mind if I check out your reports? Let me read them. Because these reports are only like 4 or 5 pages. They're not like, books. So I'm sitting there during that middle of our little recess for 5 to 10 minutes, and I'm like reading their little 4 pages, 5 pages, and I'm like, you're missing like info on all this stuff. And they're like, why? What did you write your report on? I'm like, but see, I studied so much stuff in these encyclopedias that had nothing to do with my subject matter. I'd studied all kind of stuff, read every one of them. So I'm sitting there like, but you got an A minus. Another guy, A plus. I'm like, man, you left out. Why didn't you talk about this, that, and the other? They're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, what are you talking about? Did you not do this? There was no Chat GPT back then. So I'm like, well, how you guys got A plus, A minus, and this is half ass. So they're going, well, what's wrong? I said, why don't you read mine? These people are reading my stuff like, damn, how'd you get a C plus? I said, good question. Now, I didn't think racism, of course. No, I'm not thinking like that, right? Because we're in a mixed environment. But I did learn from that experience, not once, not twice, but 3, 4 times when they're giving me grades below what these other people are after I'm reading their stuff. I said, oh, I know what I'm going to do. I ain't messing around with anything subjective. I'm going to be good at one thing that I know the answer can't be changed. Where's the math classes? All of them. I'm taking every last, and where's the accounting classes? People are like, what? I said, you're damn right, because you ain't going to be messing with my money from the tax man either. So I was taking accounting classes, doing all this stuff in high school. People are looking at me like, this dude's an alien. What's he doing? The girls take accounting. The girls take typing. I'm like, I'm not gay. Why aren't you in typing class? Excuse me. What's wrong with you? Plus, computers are coming. They're already here. You might want to get on board. But anyhow, that's a whole nother story another time. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, I got to give you guys a few little fun facts every now and then. So that's why mathematics and numbers and statistics and all this stuff, yes, 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 all of that. That's why I'm like MDA0214 says he does financials and this, that, and the other. I never wanted to trade. I never even, my friends used to always tell me, Eric, get into trading. You'll be good at this. I was like, man, I don't want to do that. I can do all kind of other stuff. I was doing all kind of other stuff. Like I said, Airbnb called me before they started and they couldn't get any listings. And because of the business I did with timeshares, I had over, well, 100 and some odd timeshares, which you guys know they're temporary. You have a week or you have points, right? So when they called me up and I said, hey, we understand you have some units, because they saw some listings on like Craigslist or something like this. I don't remember. But then they called me up and the lady's on the phone and she starts saying, well, it sounds like you have some units. It looks like it because as we're talking, you seem like you have units. So can you put up 4 or 5 units by tomorrow or the next day? And I told her, I said, what do you mean 4 or 5 units? She goes, yeah, I saw something. Somebody gave me something. You had 4 or 5 units. I said, how about if I put up, I don't know. How about if I put up like 50, 60 units on your platform by next week? She's like, what? What did you say? I said, but let me just get one thing clear. You're only taking 3% of whatever I charge. So I get 97% of the money and you're going to take the credit cards and everything? Where do I sign? And she says, you really going to put up 50? You really? I said, how about this? I'm going to put up 50 by next week, 50 listings by next week. And how about this? I'm going to have 100 listings in 3 weeks on your platform. Is it allowed? She starts getting giddy. Are you kidding me? Oh my God, hell yes. She didn't say hell yes. She just says yes. Thank you. Are you kidding me right now? I said, just keep one thing in mind. That 3%, is that for life? She goes, as far as I know. And sure enough, they still only do 3%. They charge everybody 3%. But they charge the other people who's renting from you way more than they used to. It used to be literally almost 3%. So if I charged $100 per night, I would get $97, and they would charge the other person about 110 when they first started. It was a win-win for everybody. Now, of course, they charge more in fees because now they're this is in like 2012, just so you guys understand. 2012, 2013. Somewhere in there. All right. So my account is one of the oldest on Airbnb. I think it's 14 years. So it had to be 2011, 2012. I just saw it the other day where it said like 14 years. I was like, wait a minute, that means it's like 2011. But I don't think it was 2012. That's all I think it was 2012 or 2013, but 2012 is what I remember. So if I started in 2011, okay, so be it. But uh, yeah, that's when they first started where nobody even knew who they were. All right. So another story. Be where everybody is. All right. Be where the rich guys are. Like I told you guys, go where the rich guys are. You got to be in their field. If the rich guys are into stock trading or building wealth, then you need to be into that. All right. School matters as well. Some people can do it without school, but quite frankly, all those who get lucky enough to go to the Stanford, the Harvards, the Princetons, the USCs, these big time schools, it's not about the big time school. What it's about is who goes to those big time schools. Your spheres of influencers, ambassadors, uh, senators, sons and children and grandkids, and all this. And now you're friends with these people. And now, just by default, because you're friends with them, now all of a sudden, when they get out of school, their parents own corporations. And they're like telling you, come work with us. We're going to pay you six figures versus just an ordinary citizen. You go to school. Like I went to Sonoma State, for instance, ordinary school. It's in the wine country, though. Okay. Um, and again, because San Francisco is up the street, Marin County trust fund people are up the street. Oh, yeah, wild times. And like I said, I play basketball at Sonoma State. So, you guys, I'll just give you one story because there's many. But I'm playing basketball at Sonoma State, just like every other college athlete. And at the end of one of our games, have three beautiful women, because they're over 18, 19, 20, whatever. They're sitting there, and after the game, block on the court, on the side of the court as we're getting ready to go in, and the girl comes up to me and she says, "You know who we are, or something?" And I said, "I've seen you guys before. I don't know who you are." They said, "This is how crazy this is. Out of touch." The girl says, "Well, me and my three friends, we're going over to Hawaii like tomorrow. You want to come with us?" I'm like, "Are you kidding me right now? Uh, uh you, you understand? I go to school here. I play basketball here. I can't go to Hawaii. I got to be back on Monday if I was going, and it takes 6 7 hours to fly over there. I'm not going over there for 2 days." And they're like, point blank, "You know, we can go anytime. I'm a trust fund kid." I'm like, this is absurd. No, it wasn't absurd, but you know what I'm saying in my brain. I'm like, this is wild. So all these kids, trust fund people from Marin, come to our games, and they're on a whole nother planet because they can go do what they want, when they want, how they want. And they're just sitting there talking to you like the same thing. Okay, well, let's go on Tuesday to Hawaii. I'm like, it's season. What are you talking about right now? I'm not leaving to go hang out with you guys to go to Hawaii. I got school to handle. And you could get caught up. But that is the situation when you go to certain locations. And that's why being in certain areas, going to college or school matters because you never know what's going to happen. All right. So, one of my girlfriends actually, their dad, her dad was vice president of Phillips 76. Just saying. So, some would say, Eric, did you work for Phillips 76? No. Did you work for Levi's? No. Could I have? Yeah. But I already had some things going on. That'll be another. You guys who's been longtime listeners, you guys already know. I started a business in school, college, and it was D Bird Corporation, right? My name. But anyhow, the point I'm trying to make is I put in newspapers. I would get figurines from Asia. I don't remember wherever, whether it was Korea, whether it was Hong Kong, whether it was Taiwan, whether I don't remember. But the fact of the matter is, I'd get figurines and I'd put them in something called a nickel magazine, or other people would call it penny saver, things like this, a little quarter page ad, right? And so I'd get these things for like a dozen for $60 by air, shipped to my apartment. I'd put them in this newspaper. One day I get a call and this guy says, "Yeah, I'm in Santa Rosa. I have a bingo show." I'm like, "Okay." He says, "I see you have an ad of these products," because I had more than just that. He goes, "You have these products that I see that you promote in this magazine, and I'm taking it because I keep seeing it every week that you must be making money." I said, "Yeah, I get orders." He says, "Well, I do a bingo show," and I'm like, "Well, okay, well, what do you need? What's happening?" He says, "Yeah, while I'm doing the bingo show, I sell products live on air because the bingo show is live." I said, "Okay, all right. So you're saying you're going to take some of my products?" He goes, "Yes." He says, "What type of products do you have?" I have whatever products you want me to have because I have all the manufacturers' information from China, Hong Kong. It wasn't China, it was Hong Kong, Taiwan, Korea, Thailand, all kind of places in the Asian market. And he starts going, "Oh my God." I said, "Yeah." So he goes, "I need you to come to my office and talk in Santa Rosa." I said, "All right, man." So, being the young man that I am at the time, I thought it was prudent that I bring my girlfriend with me, one of the most beautiful women on the planet, for distraction purposes, not for doing any of this Trumpy stuff, distraction. So, anyhow, I tell her, "Hey, you got to come with me to this meeting." So she comes with me, and he starts off the conversation. He says something like, "Okay, well, here's what I'm going to do. I don't need you to put any money out of pocket. What I'm going to do is, if you give me," which means I already put money out of pocket to have the items because they're already sitting at my house. He says, "You give me the products, you keep $6, let's say. If it's $12 for the product, because people bid, by the way, which made it interesting." He goes, if the product ends up being $12, we split 6 items each. So you get 100% of six, and I get 100% of six, basically 50%. I said, I said, "That's awfully nice of you, but I don't think that's going to work." He says, "Well, what do you have in mind?" I said, "Well, since I have the products and you need them, I think I'm going to get 100% of 10 items, and you keep 100% of 2 items for every dozen sold." He says, "Deal." I said, "Oh, where do we sign?" He says, All right. He says, but we should do some promos, something like that. And I'm sitting there like, all right, now you're talking. You're going to do the promos and everything. And I'm like, he goes, yeah, your girl can be in it too. I was like, you're damn right she's going to be in it. She's hella beautiful. What do you mean? That's going to sell product. My girlfriend says, I can't be in your videos. I'm like, what? What are you saying right now? Have you lost your freaking mind? She goes, I actually am a model for Ford Modeling Agency and I can't be in your videos. I was like, what? Who knows this? She goes, nobody. I had never told anybody. She goes to our school. She goes, I don't tell anybody, but I can't sign. Sure enough, I'm like, oh, come on, stop playing with me right now, even though you are fine as hell, but stop playing. She goes, no, it's legitimate. I can't sign. I'm signed to them and I can't go and do any promotional stuff, any modeling, doing nothing unless they sign off. And they wouldn't sign off. But it did not matter. The actual infomercial, commercial stuff all went on. But the point is, it all worked out. So back then they had no NIL. So you had no money other than your school was paid for, your books were paid for, but everything else, not really. So that's how I was making money while I was in school. And I didn't live on campus either. I wasn't with the I was different. Uh, I lived off campus. I lived with three geeks, scholarship, academic scholarships, because geeks mind their own business and they're kind of tidy. So, and mind their own business. So those were my roommates. So my roommates would get calls from the CEOs of companies in Asia markets, Taiwan, Korea, Hong Kong, and they didn't believe that they were CEOs. They thought they were prank calls. So it's kind of cool. Um, let's go. Paul Bunyan, it looks like. Welcome to the SSN Nation Super Saturday night, late night live stream. And he says, when we going to invest in prime casa real estate? Never, never, never. Hey, man, I mean, that's funny, but it's not funny because they murdered, I mean, from 1946 when Israel got dropped in by the British and United States and who else was there? French? Was it the French? I don't know if it was. But anyhow, they made Israel take Palestinian land and then oppress the Palestinians, and wars have ensued for life. And now they just murdered people so they can get that land. But no, I will never have any Gaza real estate ever, ever. I'll leave that up to the descendants of the EU. That's their thing, right? Oh, by the way, the descendants of the Jews, those Russian Jews that are in Israel, those Polish Jews that are in Israel, aren't even from Israel in the Bible. Just saying. This is why they try to ban books, ladies and gentlemen. They are not Israelites from the Bible. And by the way, Israelites from the Bible look like copper colored, just like American. 1828 Webster's Dictionary, American. Go look it up. Copper colored people. But you came from Africa. Not funny. This is what happens when you erase books and you make sure that people can't read or write for hundreds of years. So they don't know what the Webster Dictionary could say. So they don't know what their history was. That's why, okay, I won't get into that right now. But no, I won't be buying any land from, I won't be, I won't be down with that. And unfortunately, that's what's going to happen. Unfortunately, All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got to wrap this up. It's been fun talking with you tonight. All right. Hopefully, I'll see you on Monday for the Money Making Monday live stream. Monday or Saturday, Sunday evening should be great if you're trading because the market should be moving either up or down based on what happened on Friday. So you should have a good week this week. Volatility should be in the air. Went on the way up, went on the way down. So I'll see you guys on Monday. Hopefully, there should not be any problems with my aunt in any medical situations. I should be good to go for 8:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you join us and make sure you use these links in the chat room. I'll start giving you some right now because they're all lined up for me. Oh, yeah. How about the first one? No, we'll go reverse. We'll go reverse. All right. We'll go with the loan situation first. Get your debt reduced. Call up or email our girl Tracy. Let her know you're from SSN Nation. This is what she does. She loves to help people and she's part of family. Just saying. She's part of the fam. All right. She's a good person. She helps people. She loves to help people. That's why she's part of the fam too. She's related. Just saying. All right. Now, let's go with earning that 8% weekly, high risk, high reward. So once again, everybody, all the investments or anything, you got to do your own research, but download the link first. All right. You want to get into trading? We're going to talk about your candlestick Bible. Make sure you get that. All right. You can go get it here and save it. Study. Do that. Okay. Make sure and use your demo account at CoinEx or you can go with any broker. They'll give you a demo account. All right. So then you can see the candles. You'll understand how the markets may move. You might feel a sense of, I'll trade this, but trade something else. You never know. Everybody has their own picks on what they want to trade, right? Or options or whatever you decide to do, but you should study. So I got your candlestick trading Bible. I got your CoinEx for the broker. Then they use crypto. That's what I like. CoinEx uses crypto. So now I can download onto my banker's card so a crypto, MasterCard, debit card. So that's what I like. So you're going to get your 8% from Prime. Bankus, Tuesdays and Thursdays, they have their Zoom calls, so you can always get with them. They also talk about making money by referring other people. Also, if you're outside of the United States and you have a Bankus account, I can send money to you Bankus to Bankus with 0% fee. If I send you 1,000, you get 1,000. If I send you whatever, you get the 100%. Neither one of us lose in the transaction for Bankus to Bankus internally. All right, which means it crosses borders. So if you know somebody outside of the country that you send money to, you can upload to Bankus, and then they can get one of these, whether it's metal or plastic. This one's plastic that I have because I don't see any reason why I was going to pay $85 for a metal card. To me, a card's a card. I don't need it to go clang clang or anything like this. I don't really care. But other people do like the novelty of metal. But the point is, you can send money to other people, and then at their end, they could use their debit or credit side of the card without having to use any other forms. So that's another advantage that I think is significant. So we got you all covered, ladies and gentlemen, but make sure no matter what you do out here, just be safe because you never know what's going to happen. Let me see if I left anything else out. Findhelp.org. Don't forget about that. If you need help in the United States, put in your zip code. And right now, you can go find out all these nonprofits that get money from the government and state government. They help people. And they're supposed to help people with a little bit of money, either no money or they'll charge you a little bit. But there's all type of services that you could use for you, your family, your friends, American citizens. All right. So I think that covers everything. I put in the unstoppable domain. Let me go see where that is. No, we don't need Geomax ETFs at the moment at the end, but unstoppable domains, it's worth 20, 25 bucks. Make sure you use that link. Go get one or two or three or four. I have like six. I even have my daughter's names, or is it their first and last? Yeah, I think I have their first name. No, both. My daughter's names, our name, our family name, because one of them's married. But the thing is, our family name, I have their name dot crypto, and I never even told them. I never even told them. I should probably tell them, right? It's been sitting in my account for I don't even know 5 years, 6 years, or something. Um, Even though I don't think they're going to use it, one of my daughters will probably use it. My other two probably won't. But nonetheless, they're going to have it, and it's minted. So if they have their wallets, and I'll find out now that I'm thinking about it, and I can transfer it to them, and that would be awfully cool. They would have their own unstoppable domain crypto, their name. Nobody can take it from them. Doesn't cost them every year, but that you never know what's going to happen with crypto down the line as they free it up, so to speak, because governments are going to use crypto to actually try to avoid paying their debt. So they're going to move money to that, freeing up alleged money over here, and then try to use that. So basically, it's just going to be a derivative. So again, you can trade crypto. Just saying. All right? Just saying. That's why you should learn how to trade, because once you learn that skill set, nobody can take it away from you, and you can fish for life. So again, I love you guys very much. Thank you so much for being here. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. And I know it's hard out here, ladies and gentlemen, but it's only going to get harder if you don't have the skill sets. And even if you have the skill sets, it's going to get harder because price increases are not going to be sustainable for most people. And by the way, what do you really own while you're swiping credit cards and working 40 to 60 hours a week, living paycheck to paycheck? What do you really own? Because after you have to give your money that you work 40 to 60 hours a week for, because again, a lot of people forget that drive time to get to work, get up, shower, get ready, eat, and all that, people don't count. I count that. So that's why nobody could ever tell me I'm working 40 hours a week. I'm like, hold on, man. I had to get up like an hour and a half before this just to get to the job. And when I leave here, it's going to take me about an hour to get back into comfortable at the pad. So we're not even going to count these 2.5 to 3 hours, right? I said I keep this in my mind. That's why when I don't get promoted or I don't get a wage increase, I wasn't down with that. I wasn't down with that, especially when the metrics come out, because we have metrics in every job. There's metrics, performance. They may or may not tell you, but in the place I worked, there was metrics. And so I said, well, I'm number one and number two, depending on who you want to talk to. But I would try to be modest. I was like, I was number one and number two, knowing good well I was number one in the metrics. But I'd say I'm number one and number two, whoever you talk to. So why am I not getting a promotion? What are you saying right now? Why are you calling me up to help the management team and I'm not part of management? But you're not going to give me a promotion. Okay. I don't think I need to work here much longer. Have a nice life. I can do whatever I want. I was just going to work here because I was only like 23, 24. I just, wanted to have a resume of some sort just in case my businesses all of a sudden went broke. I said, but nah, I don't need to do this. I'm not going to play with you guys. You messing up my money. I could just go do my own business. I don't need to even be here. So anyhow, it didn't go well. But anyhow, let's go. With all that said, ladies and gentlemen, just be safe out here because you never know what's going to happen. People are under stress, under duress, and they don't know what's coming tomorrow. And some people have a feeling of nothing's going to get better. So therefore, they act a certain way. Just make sure you try to stay in an even keel, regardless if things are looking bad. But you can't just sit idly by if things are bad. You have to figure a way out. Don't give up. You have to keep trying, and something will come for those who keep trying. Those that give up, you're a lost cause. You have to keep going. Even when things seem like there's no way out, no way to win, there's always a way to win. You not giving up is a win. And eventually opportunities come to those who keep trying. All right. So keep that in mind. And with all that said, make sure no matter what you do, keep your head up, keep moving. And